Arithmetic operators. These operators perform mathematical operations. Here's a detailed explanation. Addition, represented by the plus sign, combines two values. For example, int sum equals a plus b. Subtraction, represented by the minus sign, finds the difference. For example, int diff equals a minus b. Multiplication, represented by the asterisk, multiplies values. For example, int product equals a times b. Division, represented by the /, divides values, returning the quotient. For example, int quotient equals a divided by b. Modulus, represented by the percent sign, returns the remainder. For example, int remainder equals a %b. Increment, represented by two plus signs, adds one to a variable. For example, you can write ++ a as a prefix or a ++ as a postfix. On the flip side, decrement, shown by two minus signs, subtracts one from a variable. Similarly, you can write -a as a prefix or a -- as a postfix. Relational operators compare values and return a Boolean result. These operators are essential for making decisions in your code. The equal to operator, represented by two equal signs, checks if two values are the same. For instance, you would write if a equals b to perform this check. On the other hand, the not equal to operator, shown as an exclamation mark followed by an equal sign, checks if values differ. An example would be if a not equals b to see if the values are different. Greater than, represented by the symbol greater than, checks if the left value is larger. For example, if a is greater than b, you would write it as if a is greater than b. Less than, represented by the symbol less than, checks if the left value is smaller. For instance, if a is less than b, you would write it as if a is less than b. Greater than or equal to, represented by the symbol greater than or equal to, checks if the left value is larger or equal. For example, if a is greater than or equal to b, you would write it as if a is greater than or equal to b. Less than or equal to, represented by the symbol less than or equal to, checks if the left value is smaller or equal. For instance, if a is less than or equal to b, you would write it as if a is less than or equal to b. Logical operators combine conditions. They help in making more complex decisions in your code. For example, you can check if both conditions are true or if at least one of them is true. This makes your code more powerful and flexible. Logical and, represented by double ampersands, is true if both conditions are true. For example, if a is greater than b and c is greater than d, the expression if a, b, and c, d evaluates to true. Logical OR, represented by double vertical bars, is true if at least one condition is true. For example, if a is greater than b or c is greater than d. Logical NOT, represented by an exclamation mark, reverses the Boolean value. For example, if not a. Expressions in C are combinations of variables, constants, and operators that evaluate to a value. For example, a +b times c is an expression. Operator precedence in C determines the order of evaluation. Parentheses have the highest precedence. Multiplication, division, and modulus are evaluated next. Addition and subtraction follow after. Relational operators such as less than, greater than, less than, or equal to, and greater than or equal to are evaluated after arithmetic operators. Logical operators like and or have the lowest precedence.